We've all heard the phrase, "I don't have money," many times, often said by people who have a monthly income, sometimes even a high income with a good salary. But why does this happen? Because sometimes it seems that the more we work, the less money we have. This difference between having income and having money, you will learn once and for all in today's video. I consider this difference one of the main concepts of financial education. We can even summarize personal finances to just this one fact. If you understand today's main concept, you'll already be ahead of most people in terms of financial knowledge. So if you liked the idea of the video, go ahead and leave your like. Most people budget their month according to their monthly income. That is, if they are going to receive $2,000, they already envision being able to spend $2,000. This happens when they don't use loans, credit cards, and other means that make them spend more than their salary. When we have an income of, for example, $4,000 and think we can spend it all because next month we'll receive again, it doesn't mean we really have money. It just means we have income. We have an amount that passes through our bank account and then disappears. In other words, we don't have money. Living like this, people will always be vulnerable to any unforeseen events or occurrences that may arise. This is because it is completely different to earn money and to have money. Someone can earn $10,000 in a month and spend it all as if there were no tomorrow, while another person can receive $5,000 and save $2,000 monthly for investments. Imagine this over a few years. Who would be better off financially maintaining these same financial habits? That's exactly why, to be shielded against major financial problems, we need to understand this fundamental concept of finance and economics, which is the difference between flow and stock. Continuing with the example of $10,000 received per month, this is the flow, meaning it's the income you receive monthly in your account. Now let's imagine the flow as a faucet that, when opened, drips income. But where does all this flow go? Let's imagine a container that theoretically would store this flow, which we'll call stock. Someone who earns $10,000 a month and spends it all has no stock. So what would happen to this container? It would be leaking because as soon as the flow enters, it exits without any stock, without preserving any of what is received. Now, imagine someone who has a monthly income of $5,000. This person has a flow of $5,000, right? And if they manage to save $2,000 monthly to invest, they can form a stock of $2,000. The cool thing about stock is that it increases over time. For example, if someone saves $2,000 per month, in 10 months they will already have around $20,000 in stock. This is without considering the returns from having the money invested. So we see that consistently saving what you receive monthly is essential to gradually increase the stock. Of course, we also need to focus on increasing the flow, meaning increasing our income. Because if you already have this mindset of flow and stock, when you manage to earn more, increasing the flow, you will consequently be able to save more, also increasing the stock. And not just the flow because it is indispensable to increase the stock. But you might be thinking, why should I keep accumulating money? Surely it's not to hoard it and be able to tell others that you're loaded with money. Quite the opposite. To be reasonably well off with our personal finances, it's extremely important to have money invested in an emergency fund. In other words, have your stock. Because I'm sure that in some months you thought that the money you received for the month would cover everything you needed, but due to some day-to-day events, you had to use other means like credit cards or even loans to supplement your income, having to spend more than you earn. And that's why there's the emergency fund. But hold on, just because you have an emergency fund doesn't mean you have to use that money whenever you feel like buying clothes, going on trips, or attending parties. As the name suggests, this fund is simply for real emergencies, such as a health problem or a mechanical issue with the car, for example. In this case, you tap into this reserve. It's recommended that you have 6 months' worth of your cost of living in this reserve, and this way you can achieve your financial peace of mind. So, with the reserve in place, you'll have the flow, which is your income, and you'll also have the stock, which is the reserve. If you only have income, you don't have money because you only have flow. Once you have the emergency fund established, you can start investing in bigger things. focusing on your financial independence, investing in stocks and real estate funds, for example. Focus on the long term and on receiving returns over time. Well, this issue of flow and stock is also addressed in the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, when Robert Kiyosaki says that what matters isn't how much money you earn, but how much money you keep. At first glance, it seems like a somewhat meaningless statement because people have always only talked to each other about how much each one earns, not about how much they spend. We're used to seeing only the earnings side, always wanting to know how much a celebrity earns, thinking how good it would be if we earned double what we earn today and everything else, without realizing that it's also extremely important to understand the spending side. But you might be thinking, someone who earns a lot doesn't even need to have a reserve and save money. But if you only earn and spend everything, no matter how much it is, you won't be able to increase your amount. You won't be able to have money with you, really. It's like the example of the faucet and the bucket. It's useless to have a very high flow if you have a leaky bucket. It won't store anything. But of course, someone who earns $100,000 a month, for example, and lives spending $100,000 achieves a very good standard of living, with a great house, great cars, and everything else, but with no reserve at all, only flow. And for sure, before someone comments anything, someone who earns $100,000 a month can easily save a large portion of what they earn, perhaps even 50% of what they earn for investments, and live with the other 50%, and live very well indeed. But now, returning to the reality of most people, someone who earns $2,000 a month and manages to save $500 monthly in the realm of personal finances is much better off than someone who earns $4,000 every month and lives spending everything they receive because they only have flow and no stock. So with all this concept, we understand that we do need to earn well, that is, increase the income flow or even increase income sources, creating new streams. Because the more we earn, the more we'll be able to save and consequently increase the stock, especially by doing this every month. It's about always living a step below your salary with less than you receive, as we've already discussed in this video that seems to resonate with you. Never spend everything you earn, but you also don't need to create a paranoia about counting every penny. It's all about balance. It's what I always talk about here on the channel. That's why it's important to have this difference between flow and stock very clear, especially so that over time we increase the stock, and thereby we can receive income from that invested wealth, from that stock that we accumulated over the years, thus increasing your monthly income over time. In other words, your flow. Isn't that crazy? Because by increasing the stock, that is by investing more money, you'll be able to create more income streams, and that money dripping into your account will be your flow, meaning the stock will also create new flows. In addition, there are compound interests which accelerate this whole process, and the sooner we start investing, the better, especially to see the power of compound interest happening. This was our video for today. I hope it helped you in some way. If you're new to the channel, subscribe to receive our new content. Thank you very much for watching until here. See you in the next video.